Coming up now on Animal Outtakes,
Here we go. Go, go, go.
that sweet taste of freedom. We're visiting Save Our Seabirds in Sarasota, where we get a chance to go behind the scenes to witness some of the important work being done for these animals. Plus, we're learning about this little guy named Pepper. Look at these eyes, Troy. They are white.
Good boy. Let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
And a blind date that involves a lot of teeth. And hopefully, a little bit of love. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. I think that we can all agree that the pandemic has affected us in more ways than we had originally imagined. But one of the things that never changed was the need for rescue organizations to continue their missions. Save Our Seabirds in Sarasota is officially reopening their doors to the public. However, they never stopped caring for the sick and injured birds, even during the toughest times.
It's been a pretty busy day. We have 2 new patients that Jonathan brought in today. One is a juvenile laughing gull, and the other is a red knot. We're very excited to see how they're doing today. Hopefully they aren't too bad off and we can get them started on the road to healing. Come here, baby. Come here, sweetheart. We're just going to tuck your head in. There's something very special and unique about working with birds. It can be a little scary because they seem so fragile and so delicate. But as you work with them, you find out that there's a part of them that actually is very versatile and very strong and has a very intense will to live. And you see some truly miraculous cases where you think, oh my goodness, this bird is so sick. And it's amazing to see that sometimes they can really surprise you and work through whatever they're dealing with. And it's a joy. You know, it can be very hard sometimes because they're so delicate and so fragile, and they're so beautiful. It can be hard to see when they don't make it, but when they do, and when you see them fly off again, it's the most rewarding thing in the world.
You're coming off of a pandemic.
Yes.
And you're just open now here on City Island. What did you do during the pandemic? Because birds still get crippled and hurt.
Right, yeah, so we were closed to the public, of course, but we have over 100 resident birds here that still need cleaning and feeding, as well as a fully operational wild bird rehab facility that was still functioning during the pandemic. You know, we still had birds that needed help, and we had a lot of birds this year too. It was actually a very busy year for birds. We've had a high intake year this year, despite the fact that we were closed to the public.
What would you credit that to?
There are natural fluctuations, but also we had a little bit of an influx of red tide this year as well. So it was baby bird season in the summer, red tide in the summer into the fall. All of those things accumulated, and we ended up having a large number of birds. Occasionally we'll get a really fascinating deep seabird species that washes ashore for whatever reason. Maybe they weren't doing well out in the wild. Maybe they had trouble because humans, you know, and overfishing can make them struggle a little bit trying to find food. So occasionally we'll get a really fascinating bird come in. We had a greater shearwater and we had a sooty tern, both of which are relatively rare species for this clinic. And again, those are just natural variations. You get birds that struggle out in the wild sometimes and they end up washed on shore. So those were some very fascinating cases. We did have some very cute baby birds come in. We currently have a cormorant baby. We don't get too many cormorant babies, despite them being so common around here. Oftentimes, if they struggle out in the wild, they end up passing away before they even get to us. So it's rare to have one come into us and do well, but we have one up here right now who's actually doing relatively well.
Did the pandemic affect your mission of Save Our Seabirds?
Ultimately, it didn't, and a lot of that credit goes to the hardworking and dedicated staff. They were here every single day during the pandemic, making sure that we could continue our mission. Certainly it's been hard, because the public hasn't been able to come in and see us and support us, but we've managed to survive. We're still here, and a lot of that is credited to our amazing staff. We have some very wonderful people here who truly care about the birds and can help us continue to rescue the wild birds and take care of our residents.
Now, what is your capacity here?
For resident birds, we have over 100 resident birds here. As far as the rescue birds go, capacity can fluctuate depending on the species. We see so many different species, and some of them require just a little bit of cage space, and others require quite a bit of cage space, as well as pond capacity, certain amount of food. So that would actually depend on the species that we're working with. The brown pelicans are always going to be one of our largest intakes. I think they are actually the #1 species that we see here, the most frequent species that we see here. Like you said, they get themselves into a lot of trouble between issues with hook and line, issues with boats, and just in general, the struggle of surviving in the wild can be very difficult for a young pelican. As for the sandhill cranes, certainly they are one of the most prominent species that's dealing with living side by side with humans. They have learned to adapt. You see them walking down the street, you see them foraging in your backyard, but of course that means that they're in close proximity to cars. It means that their young are in close proximity to dogs and cats that roam the neighborhoods. So certainly we see a lot of them too in some dire straits.
What are your emotions when they do fly on their own?
It's fantastic. There have been some cases where you think, oh my goodness, is this bird ever going to fly again? And then you see them get lift for the first time, and you can almost see the expression on their face of, I did it, and to see them circle around the cage for the first time and to get stronger and stronger, and they can do more and more circles until you think, we're here, we're at the point where they can leave. It's amazing.
Do you think any of them remember the wonderful care that they received here at Save Our Seabirds? Do they kind of come back and say, hey, I'm still going?
There are some that will peek around the corner occasionally to see if they can sneak a fish off the plate.
Sure. Meals are good here.
Right,
yes.
Exactly. Yeah, we do have a couple that see if they can sneak another fish or two before they go. But for the most part, we want them to spread around the Sarasota area. Certainly we want to make sure that all of the bird populations in the area are supported. So as much as we would love for them to come and visit or remember us, at the same time we want them to stay wild and remember, this is where I belong, is out in the wild, as a part of the Sarasota community.
With the red tide, which is Florida's scourge,
yes.
With the so-called algae creating all of this.
Yes.
How does that affect the birds? Do you see
quite dramatically?
And do you see different ailments because of the red tide?
So the red tide can poison them directly because, of course, the fish are consuming the algal toxins and then the birds are consuming the fish. And it's often the birds that are the best fishers, that are catching these fish. So our cormorants are the top fishers they're one of the best fishers in the bird kingdom. But that means that they're consuming these fish before the fish are really, dying or showing signs of red tide. So especially the juveniles who might not know what a bad fish looks like just yet. So we see a lot of birds that end up getting symptomatic red tide and seeing a lot of cormorants come in, as well as some of the other species, red knots. Red knots are beautiful, delicate little shorebirds that you might see puttering around on the beach. They unfortunately get hit pretty heavily as well. Gulls that pick at the dead fish on the beach, they can get hit very heavily. So yeah, it can absolutely affect our shorebird populations. And we have such a diverse species, there's so many different species of shorebirds around the Sarasota, Gulf Coast of Florida area, and so many of them can get hit hard by red tide. It's quite sad, because it's a special area we have around here. I think anyone can be a steward for the birds, and it's something as simple as just thinking, okay, am I impacting the birds in some way? We love going to the beach and we love spending time at the beach, and it's thinking about, okay, if I walk into that flock of birds, am I disrupting them? If I have my dog out, should I bring them away from the birds? things like that, you know, just simple ways that you think, can I help the birds in some small way? If you know that there's a place where sandhill cranes frequent, you can slow down a little bit and check both ways before proceeding, just to make sure that you don't accidentally hit one that darts into the road. Just little ways to keep the birds in mind. It's easy to do once you start thinking about our feathered friends.
Since the inception, Save Our Seabirds has become one of the largest wildlife rescues in Florida, with about 5,000 distress calls taken every year and more than 200 permanent residents. They have a living museum you can visit where you can encounter all kinds of birds up close, many who have been treated but are unable to return to the wild. For more information on Save Our Seabirds, you can go to their website, saveourseabirds.org. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, we meet Pepper and learn about this rare kind of alligator. And then a little later in the show,
Good boy. Let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
it's training time, and we find out some exciting news. Dominic the crocodile may have finally met his match.
So the purpose of her hiding in the back right now is so that she can smell and hear him. That's a much better way, you know, so we put a little dracar on him and we wait.
Stick around. There's more Animal Outtakes after the break.
I need a vacation. Life is exhausting. I want to relax and enjoy some me time. Then Dante's Den is the perfect place for your vacay stay. Spacious air-conditioned dens, plenty of room to exercise and run, and a pool to swim in. Whether it be an overnight stay, short or long-term, Dante's Den is waiting for you. For more information, visit dantesden.org. Ah, my land shark in the water!
You love your dog, but is he hard to handle? Barking, biting, jumping, chewing, hard to walk? Is your dog aggressive? Have you tried everything and nothing worked? I'm Will Thomas. Dogs are my passion. I can help you with your dog. My methods are so unique, I only need one session in your home. To learn more, look at my website, willthomasdogwhisperer.com, or call me at 941-377-0243. I can help you fast.
What's going to happen to me if something happens to you? That's when Dante's Den steps in. You can make plans for your pet's continued lifetime care in the event you can no longer be there for them. Amenities include spacious dens, medical care, area to run free, and a swimming pool. Plus, all the love and cuddling your pet needs 24/7. Call us or visit dantesden.org for more information.
As you know, Animal Outtakes is filmed in Florida, and we go all over the state, and every now and then we just run into something that is so special, and Troy has brought a very special guy to us, and he's gorgeous. He's absolutely gorgeous.
He is. He's really cool. This is a piebald alligator, and this animal is owned by Love Reptiles, and he specializes in albinos and really, really cool looking animals like this. And his name is Pepper. Because it looks like we kind of peppered him up a little bit, so he's got, you know, the white and black peppers on him. So this is, what it is it's an actual recessive gene, a lot like you see in humans, called vitiligo. So for a long time, they would see these in the farms and they thought it was a fungus disease, and they would euthanize them because they're not good for the skin trade like that. So when you want skins, you don't want to see this all over, it looks damaged. So it's just recently they realized that it's an actual, it's recessive in there, and so they have like a really cool looking pattern to them if you guys want to see that, really cool. Another cool thing about this animal is I can hand it to you.
Okay.
So he gets to squirming once in a while, but go ahead and take your hand underneath there, real
Right
gentle
here?
for you. Yep, and then hold
And
under the
over
tail.
here?
And you feel how soft he is?
Oh, you're so soft.
if he squirms, I'll take
and
him.
you are not heavy.
Nope.
No, you're not. But look at these eyes, Troy. They are white.
Yes, very white. So we noticed that in the piebalds that there's a lot to them. There's probably under 25 or 30 of them in the whole world that we know of right now. And so we don't know a whole lot about it. So the guys that do work with these, they're doing a lot of like research with them. They're going to start seeing what it takes to breed them. If it's just something that happens sporadically, if it doesn't, there's a lot to it. So definitely do your research on it.
Now, of course, we're all very leery of alligators in this state. We try to watch very, very carefully. But he's absolutely beautiful.
Isn't he cool?
I mean, just look at this magnificent tail. How big would you say he is?
Right now, I think this animal's just under 3 feet. And so we're probably looking at maybe 30 inches, maybe 32 inches at the most right now.
Now, how big will he get?
Well, this is a male, so he actually has the potential to reach, he could get 100 feet, just kidding. But he could probably reach 10, 12 feet easy, and slowly until he passes away, he could probably reach 15. He has the potential. He has no problems with them all. He just has different skin.
Whoa.
It's okay. He said he wanted to get down. That's how they say it's time for me to get down.
Time for me. He had enough. He had enough. He had his photo op.
Well, what happens is a lot of times they don't understand. We put this tape around their mouth when we do shows, or we hand them off to somebody for the safety of him and the safety of you. And a lot of times it's constricting. So like a dog in a muzzle, they're always trying to pull it off. So you'll notice he'll pull his head to the side and try to take his back leg and take it off.
But he was actually gentle as he was pulling away. It wasn't a jerk motion.
These animals have been with us since they were little. So when they were acquired by the owner, he got them as little hatchlings and he handled them all the time. And so once you get them that small like that, they just get used to different things. And like anything, they want to get down and move, and alligators are intelligent.
Sure. Now, this alligator, can it be owned by somebody?
Yes. Yes.
Private parties can own them.
Private companies. So you can't have alligators as pets in the state of Florida. They're a Class 2 animal or a farming animal. So on a Class 2, if you have a business for exhibition or education, you can actually own and distribute and show alligators. And so yes, you can. If you have a company and you'd like to do that, please do. The more the merrier.
Well, he's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, he is. Thank you.
And I just, you know, these are the types of things that you will never see on the internet. You will see a picture on the internet, but you will not be able to touch and feel an alligator like this. But in Sarasota, Florida, you can. Where can we see this guy?
So these guys are going to be visiting the Sarasota Jungle Gardens for a year, and you're going to be able to do interactions with them. So they're going to be special interactions, and you will be able to hold them, take pictures with them and their family, and they will be selling tickets to do that for the rest of the year. So
if you want to see
here.
him, he's a handsome guy,
right.
And you can go to the Jungle Gardens. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, the blind date has been set for these two American crocodiles, and we'll be right back. Now we head to Sarasota Jungle Gardens, where love is in the air, or at least underwater. Keepers are hoping that they've found the perfect match for Dominic, an American crocodile. This species has recently had an increase in numbers in Florida, thanks to the effective protection of these animals. But they are still considered threatened. So staff is hoping that nature will take its course with these two crocodilians.
Tell me where he's gonna follow me now. Come on, Helena. All right, Dominic. Watch what he left you a present. Come here, Dom. Here. Come here, Dominic. Hello, Marcia.
How are you, Troy?
Good, how are you? Come here. Come all the way over here to me. Right here. Hold it. Hold right there. Good boy. All right. This is Helena. Helena's our trainer with the crocodile here. She's gonna hold him so he doesn't want to chase me around and play while I tell you what we're doing. How are you doing?
I'm just amazed by this creature. And I love his little snaggle tooth on the side.
This is an American crocodile. These are native, they're indigenous to Florida. So you can find them with the alligators down south in South Florida, down by Flamingo. So, and she's giving him commands. He's verbal and he's looking at her fist. That means to hold. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk over towards over there. We're gonna continue talking. He's gonna follow me. Her job is to bring him back. Good job.
Oh, good boy.
So the exercises, good job, Dom. The exercises that we do with Dominic. All right, so the exercises that we do with Dominic is so that we can do vet checks. We can also make sure that the keepers are safe and that he's a very playful crocodile, but you never underestimate an animal that can be dangerous. And we're exercising him a little bit because we're bringing in the love of his life. We actually have a female. He's going into the part of a breeding program because these were pretty endangered at one time in the state of Florida. They're just now starting to recuperate. So we're going to be bringing in a female crocodile here at the gardens as a breeding program. So we want to get his sexy back.
Why is he in shallow water?
Dominic's been here since 1996, and he has another pool. We have a deep pool back here. We have a little pool here that he seems to prefer when it's rainy or dirty. He likes to hide in the muddy water like kids. They like to play in the mud. And then it goes all the way back where the female is right now, getting ready to be introduced to Dominic in a few weeks. So he likes this pool here because this is where everybody comes to see him and he gets treats. So it's like his couch. He'll come to this pool so he can relax and get a bunch of snacks.
Now, you say that he has the love of his life.
Yes.
How do we know that?
Well, we're guessing at this point. So we're going to see how much she likes him or he likes her when they come. Dominic, fortunately for us, is a very gentle crocodile. He is not a mean crocodile. He's not overzealous. He's very gentle. He listens to his trainer. Helen does a really good job with him. And so he knows that what he's supposed to do, and he stations well. So the fact that he's gentle is going to be very beneficial on the introduction, Marcia.
Now, there's a mating game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that mating game, what if? What if they don't click?
If they don't click during the introduction of the crocodile, I specialize and work with crocodiles and a few of our other co-partners, so we will be in here to monitor it. If it seems to get out of control, we will then safely remove the crocodiles back to their each individual enclosures until we can reintroduce again. So the purpose of her hiding in the back right now is so that she can smell and hear him. That's a much better way, so we put a little dracar on him and we wait.
Now, has Dominic been a daddy before?
Yes, years ago, I'm sure you remember, years ago he did have someone else, and they since moved the other female to another facility, but he did father a little clutch. Yes, he did. He had a couple little babies born on this planet. Back in 2006, 2004, nobody stays with the babies in the American crocodile. So what happens is, she builds a very big nest. She lays a nest and she guards it with her life. When the babies start to call, she then puts the babies into her mouth and swims down into the water, releases them, and then disappears. So they move them out pretty quick. And a lot of people say they wish they could do it the same way.
Yeah. But how do they keep them safe?
There's a wonderful organization called the Croc Docs out of the University of Florida. They monitor the populations. They check all of them. They microchip them. They do what's called key scaling, so they know exactly what crocodile is what. And they send groups out all the time to repetitious. However, they don't interfere with wild interaction. A lot of these crocodiles are delicate because as babies, they don't make it. Tarpons eat them, other sharks, maybe other crocodiles, alligators. So it's very, very critical at time for them as babies. So they're well monitored, and we try to protect them as much as we can in those areas in South Florida.
Now, down in the Everglades, we've got the gators.
We have gators, yep.
Do we have some crocs down there?
We do. The only place in the world that you'll find crocodiles and alligators living together is the state of Florida. So from about middle of the state down all the way into the Florida Keys. It's interesting to me because you'll see a lot of people out in their boats enjoying their party, and underneath them is crocodiles in the ocean. They have no idea they're there.
Now, you said you're going to breed him. Let's
Yep.
just say that the romance is super successful,
Yes.
and we're going to have babies. Approximately how many babies are we going to have?
They can lay anywhere from 20 to 40, 50 eggs at times. So usually if you have a really good incubator, you get a really successful hatch rate. So a good percentage of them will hatch out, and then we will place them at other facilities that are doing a bunch of education and ecology work with these crocodiles, such as the university, other zoos, etc. As you all know, I do a lot of work with crocs. The American crocodile is one of the most intelligent crocodiles on the planet, in my opinion. I also have worked with them many. They're my favorite. They're very, very, very smart. It only takes about 4 tries to teach the animal its name, and if she's holding him there just simply with her fist.
Now, does he know his girlfriend is on the other
Yes,
side?
he
does.
absolutely knows that his girlfriend's here, and she knows he's here. So right now it is the blind dating game.
Well, good luck on that.
That's right. We're going to have a good time. You'll be involved. Bring your floaties.
Got him. Stay with us. There's much more Animal Outtakes coming up next.
I need a vacation. Life is exhausting. I want to relax and enjoy some me time. Then Dante's Den is the perfect place for your vacay stay. Spacious air-conditioned dens, plenty of room to exercise and run, and a pool to swim in. Whether it be an overnight stay, short or long term, Dante's Den is waiting for you. For more information, visit dantesden.org. Ah, my land shark in the water!
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching. Since its inception, well, oh my God. Okay. I got it. Inception. Since its inception.